Srivastava from Indian Institute of Engineering and Technology. Today's session that we will be discussing optoelectronic devices and one of that example that is a light emitting diode. Now, before we start with optoelectronic devices, let us understand what are the basic concepts regarding the same. Okay, so first, what do you mean by optoelectronics? So, optoelectronics deals with the study, application of the electronic device that interact with light, which might be detection or emission. Okay, so whether your device is actually absorbing the light and generating something, or absorbing something and generating light, both of them comes under the optoelectronic devices. So here, a large number of the optoelectronic devices consist of the basic P and N-type material. Okay, that is our basic semiconducting material, or you can also say that that is a basic block building for our any devices regarding the semiconductor concept. Just like that, a regular PN junction diode that are known to be light sensitive, and in some cases it emits the light also. So now optoelectronic devices can be bifurcated as that convert the light into the current, okay, and obviously the example for that would be a photodiode, okay, so that converts the light into current, okay, that is your photodiode. And second, that convert the current into the light. So what happens here? This example is LED. So you can see that from the LED, the light is exerted out. And in photodiode, it absorbs the light and generates the current. So here we have got the basic devices. One that converts electric current into your light, and another absorbs the light and converts your current. So some phenomena related to the optoelectronics, such as first is photoconductivity. Now, as the name suggested, the increase in the electrical conductivity of certain material when they are exposed to light in sufficient energy. Okay, so what happens? The increase in the electrical conductivity is there. Okay, when it is exposed in a sufficient energy. Now, see, there is one misconception. Don't go with that it will be generating the light. It just increases the conductivity, and that word is the photoconductivity. Okay, so you can see that what happens here when two bands are there, that is our obvious conduction band and valence band. In valence band, you have got the electron hole pair. So what is happening when an equivalent energy, that is equivalent to band gap energy, light is incident on it, what will be there? The electron hole pair will break, and electron will be up and hole will be in the valence band. Hence you are getting this electron. Okay, so this is how the conductivity increases, means electrons are increasing. Similarly, when we take it serves as a tool that detects the presence of the light and measures the intensity of the light. And these are nothing but the light sensitive devices. So here you can say that as the light increases, what will happen? The conductivity increases, means more number of electrons will be generated. So now the next concept is of luminance. So the property of emission of light is called as luminance. Now this would be our nothing but the concept of LED. Okay, what happens when the electron is at the higher energy level, that is in the conduction band, and in the valence band we have got hole. So when this electron loses the energy and comes down to the valence band, this energy loss would be nothing but equivalent to the energy gap. Now what is there? Here it is absorption of energy is not there, but releasing of energy is there. Okay, and this is a radiative in nature, hence it will generate the light. So the efficiency of luminance depends on the degree of the transformation of excitation of energy into the light and the electrons undergoing the transition of the excited state. So basically two things are there. Okay, one, the transformation of the excitation, and second, the electrons that are undergoing through the transition. So the more electrons are going under through transmission, okay, so as this transition is more, what would be happening? The more amount of the light will be generated, hence luminance will be high. Now the types of the luminance on the base of the excitation mechanism. Okay, so now basically when we are discussing the excitation mechanism, first is a photoluminance. So the process in which a molecule absorbs the photon in visible region, exciting its electron to the higher electronic state and radiates a photon. This electron returns to the lower energy state. Okay, so basically you can see that there is a two-stage process. Okay, the first stage process is that it first of all absorbs it, okay, then it goes to the higher energy state, okay, then after when it is coming down, what will be happening? It will be releasing the same amount of the light. So it is taking the same amount of light to go from bottom to the up position, okay, and releasing the same amount of energy, it again come back down to the original position. So you are absorbing light and also you are giving back the same amount of the light energy, or in the terms of photon, that is Hv. Okay, now that best example is our diode laser of the photoluminescence. Now we go with the cathodoluminescence. And cathodoluminescence is a process in which a highly energetic beam electrons excites the electron to the higher electronic state and then radiates a photon as this electrons return to the lower energy state. So what we are doing? Okay, so you can see that the beam of electron excites the electron to the higher energy state. You can see in the diagram that there is a symbol. Okay, the photon is incident, and what is happening? It is goes to the higher energy beam. Okay, and then when it is coming down, it is generating your again photons. So this would be the cathodoluminescence, and the examples for the same are CRT and the PV tubes. Now the last one and the most important one, electroluminescence. The process that enables a semiconductor to emit the light in response of the electric current or a strong electric field. So what it means to say, in return of electric field, what is generated? A light is emitted or light is generated. Now how it is doing it? Here you can see that electrons and holes are there. They are combining, and you can see that in diagram Hv is there. That Hv is nothing but your photon. Okay. So now this electroluminescence is also based off your LED. Okay. So LED would be using the electroluminescence for generating the light. So now let's start with the LED. LED stands for light emitting diodes. So in that, a light emitting diode is a semiconducting device that emits light when current flows through it. Yes, we have studied that in electroluminescence, that in the presence of the electric field or the current given, what will happen? That semiconducting device will generate the light, and that is what our LED is doing. So the symbol is almost same as a PN junction. Just the thing is that it goes outward direction. Okay, so when it is going in the outward direction means it is emitting that light. So that arrows are actually signifying the outward direction is nothing but the light. Now you can see that the symbolization in that the two way of recognition, anode and cathode, is there. Okay, basically always the anode lag is comparatively its length is high, then the cathode first, and second you can see that the flat type structure is there in anode. This is the two way we can recognize in LED whether which is the anode, which is the cathode. Now the material used in construction of LEDs basically is a direct band gap semiconductors in the construction. Now what is direct band gap? In that the momentum, you know that the EK diagram we have discussed, okay? In that the tip of the conduction band and tip of the valence band, both levels of momentum was same, and that was your direct band gap semiconductors. Okay, so LED is basically that direct band gap semiconductor, and we know that in the direct band gap semiconductor we get a radiative energy out, and that radiative energy was nothing but your light. So you can see that some of the examples of the material that are used are gallium arsenide, that is used for infrared, gallium arsenide, potassium, okay, gallium arsenide, sorry, it is then gallium phosphide, and aluminum gallium phosphide, green light. And similarly you are getting the different combinations of the materials can be used, as well as you are getting the different type of light from the same. Now how basically LEDs are formed? So LEDs are basically formed, again it is a PN junction diode that are made of a very thin layer, fairly heavily doped material. So there is a very fair heavily doped part available in that PN junction. Okay, but that is not throughout the material, it is at very part. Now you can see that there is a sandwich of P type and N type, and between that there is an active region, and in that active region the recombination is done, and from that recombination you are getting the nothing but the light in the terms of photons. So this is the basic construction. Now the recombination of electron and holes leads to the emission of the photon, and that exclusively happens only in the active region. So now first we'll go with the zero bias of LED. So when it is a zero bias, you can see that P type, N type doping is there, majority holes are there, majority electrons are there, and you can see that in the energy band diagram, when you are seeing that forbidden gap is there in middle. Okay, so when you are not providing any biasing, there is no flow. Now when you see that the Fermi levels are lined up and there is a built-in potential due to which electrons from N are not going to move. Why? There is a potential difference between that as the Fermi levels are not match up. Okay. So now when you will be going in the forward bias. Now what is the forward bias? P is connected with positive terminal, N is connected with negative terminal. Okay. So now what will be having? Electron will be flowing from the positive side and holes will be flowing on the opposite side. Okay. But in the band diagram you can see that now the Fermi level, first of all what happened? Because of the forward bias, the depletion width has reduced. Now once the depletion width has reduced and the Fermi level has also lined up. So now you can see that electrons from the N type are going to the P side and they are recombining. And they are recombining in the depletion region and hence that is our active region also. So when there is a recombination is happening, what is happening? The light is generated from the same. So what is happening? Again, the depletion width is reduced, electron Fermi level is lined up, electrons going from this end to the P side, in between recombination is happening and because of that you are getting the light out of it. So recombination takes place and so we get the output in the form of light. Okay. So now we'll go to the reverse bias. Now all we know that in PN junction reverse bias conductivity is almost zero. Why? Because depletion region is high as P is connected to the negative terminal and N type is connected to the positive terminal. So depletion width has increased. You can see that the forbidden gap, the Fermi levels has also shifted. So there is no conduction, hence there is no conduction, no recombination is there, and so there will be no output. Now we are taking the characteristics of LED. Now you can see that characteristics of LED, that is the VI curve, is almost same as a PN junction diode. Ultimately, LED is nothing but a PN junction diode only, but there is some change in the composition. So here you can see that with V versus I, again, till depletion region is reducing, what is happening? It will slowly and gradually increase, and after a certain point it will increase. But on the other side, you have got the radiative power. So as the conductivity of the LED increases in the forward bias, the power of the radiant means the amount of the photons released will also increase. That is quite obvious. Why? Because the more of the transition will be there, more the transition is there, more what will be generated? Photons will be generated. So that's the characteristics of LED. After that, we are coming up with the advantages of the LED. So basically, it has got exceptionally longer lifespan. Okay, almost 60,000 of hours. So if you are using a normal tube light, okay, out of that, if you are using an LED light, so it will be having comparatively lifespan is comparatively very high than that normal. After that, significantly now, as the life is high, but its consumption is 90% less. Okay, so it is more efficient than the normal, or you can say that the conventional lights. It's reduced the maintenance cost, obviously, as longer lifespan is there, less the efficiency of less the consumption is there, higher the efficiency is there, obviously the maintenance will be reduced, and it's also a higher in safety. So these are the basic advantages. Now we'll go to the applications of that. First, it is used as a bulbs in homes and industries, that what we have discussed. It is also used in the motorcycle and cars, again for the lighting purpose. It is used in the mobile phones. On the displays, we know that LED, OLED displays are available. So this is nothing but your all the displays. It will be there in the mobiles also, as well as in the televisions also nowadays. And last, it is used in the traffic light signals also. Now the thing is that LEDs are not limitations in this. Wherever there is any display related application, LED would always find it place anyhow. Okay, because it has got so many advantages, it will definitely find its application. So hope you guys have understood this lecture very well. See you in the next lecture. Till then, bye bye.